Hi everyone, it's Anthony Anaxagorou here. I just wanted to kind of give a little bit of a talk about a particular aspect of poetry writing that I'm into. I think one of the things that interests me the most is the idea of logic and sense. I'm really interested in how poems have the ability to subvert logic and to kind of create their own ideas of what is possible within the human imagination and I guess within wider aspects of life. I think that we are overrepresented, or perhaps we put too much emphasis on the idea of literal meaning or literal determinism. And I think this kind of it stunts a lot of poetry writing, in my opinion. I'm really interested in the idea of starting with not knowing. So when people begin a poem and they want to write about something, they kind of have a tendency to write a poem that they already know too much about, which creates a particular kind of experience within the piece. Like as a reader, you get the sense that the poet knows more about this than you do. And I kind of like to create an atmosphere within a poem that has the reader and the poet in a kind of sense or creating a space of discovery. So they're finding things out as they're writing. And obviously, like things are honed and they're crafted and they're shaped to fit a particular kind of shape or aesthetic or idea, fine. But the idea that we begin with not knowing and we land in a place of, okay, there it is for me one of the most interesting parts. And I think poetry really allows that to happen, like other art forms as well. We're allowed to to play and to experiment. And I think that's a really important part of the practice of poetry. Um, there's this kind of preconception that poems have to be about stuff. And I know like a lot of poets in the past have spoken about it. I've read a lot of literature about the idea of poems aren't about anything, and to think of something as about is is kind of half failing because then you already set the poem up to work in a particular kind of way. So I guess I'm interested in the realm of being left alone inside the poem. I want to feel like it's just me and the poem there rather than me and the poet, if that makes sense. Um, so that's kind of one of my big areas of fascination. And there's a lot of teaching that I kind of do around that, like how you can create those poems and still allow people to kind of participate, to get involved, to be part of the dialogue between the author and the work itself, but also to make it theirs. And I kind of resist this idea of difficulty because that's kind of what happens. Once you start talking about this, people then begin to say, oh, you just like stuff that doesn't make any sense. Or you like difficult poems, which is not true. I like, I enjoy poems that I feel I'm having an experience with, poems that I feel are not trying to guide me into how to think and how to feel. That they kind of they're more expansive, they're bigger. I think I find them more artistic, I find them more artful. Um, and that for me is really where I kind of get involved. And I say to people, don't worry about making sense, like make art, because art is its own form of sense. And although everyone will say, yeah, we do make art, I sometimes think that some people are so afraid of not being quote unquote understood that they make the poem so straight and so kind of, one dimensional that they miss the possibilities that happen if you push out. So that's really what I kind of wanted to say about that. I look forward to reading your poems for the Bridport Prize. That was just a notification there. For the prize, for the Bridport Poetry Prize. I look forward to seeing what people come up with. Yeah, that's it.